welcome. With me today is West Bridgewater's newly appointed police chief, Victor Flaherty. Chief Flaherty, thank you for being here today.
Oh, I appreciate the invitation.
Very welcome. So you were sworn in on July 6th. How have things been going so far?
Things are going good. Like I said, we've been working very hard to keep our department very proactive, very community oriented. So we have a bunch of really good guys. So my first 3 weeks have been really nice.
Very good, very good. Now you've been an officer in West Bridgewater since 1988. What is it about West Bridgewater that has made you stay and work in your hometown as a police officer?
Well, like I said, I grew up here. I mean, so I have a lot of roots here. You know, 2/3 of my family still live in town. Mm-hmm. Very early age with the Youth Athletic Association with my dad. So, you know, just seeing how he did his work kind of kept me in the community.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's some strengths and weaknesses to being a police officer in your hometown?
Well, I think when you first get on, I think it's difficult,
mm-hmm.
you know, because you might run into family or friends, you know, and you don't know how to deal with it as well as you do. After 28 years, the town has changed so much. I don't see, you know, a lot of new same faces that you did when you were 22 or 23.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that part has changed. It's not difficult anymore. You don't have that, like I says, the friendships that are close and still living here and being able to balance that as a police officer.
That's good. Now you've held a lot of positions as your time as a police officer. Do you care to share on some of those different positions you held and how they helped you prepare yourself as a police chief?
Well, yeah, I've done everything in the police department, pretty much. You know, the head bottle washer now. But I mean, I started out as in patrol. In 1996, I became a detective. We joined the Web Task Force in '97. So since 1997, we've been in a task force doing a lot of stuff from here to Brockton all the way to Cape. So we've been very active, you know. And in 2001, I was promoted to sergeant. I went back to patrol for a short time, mm-hmm. and then I went back into detectives, being a detective sergeant. And at that point, I was in charge of the Web Task Force up until 2010, at which I became a lieutenant in April of 2010. And then, after being in a task force for 13 or 14 years, you know, I moved on from there. And so, you know, starting with patrol, working through all the ranks, I kind of got a real good perspective on how those positions go and how to, obviously I know how to do them because I did it for years, mm-hmm. but also I know how to supervise them. So it's really helped me in this position because I kind of had my finger in a lot of the things.
That's good, very well. Now, your predecessor, Chief Donald Clark, did you learn anything from him moving up in the ranks, and did he give you any advice to help you prepare yourself as a chief?
Chief Clark, you know, methodically thought of things, never did anything quickly. Mm-hmm. He always wanted to think about it, you know, and sit back and look at the whole picture and not make a quick decision. He was always very calm and consistent, you know, and I think that's very important. We must mm-hmm. be consistent with the personnel. We must be consistent with our decisions. So sitting back and looking at it for a little while, I'm a little more a person, let's just get it done, yep. move on. Yep. So meeting somewhere in the middle really helped me.
Great, that's good. Now, I have a question. You started out in the late 80s. What's changed in policing since time now? And I mean by that is maybe some issues or challenges that were big that maybe have died down or vice versa, technology, equipment that police officers use now?
Yeah, well, 1988, our dispatch had a lone mic mm-hmm. that you pressed to talk, wow. and we had a manual typewriter with a 3-carbon log, mm-hmm. okay, and everything was typed. All your reports were typed in those three layered carbon paper. So when you made a mistake on the first one, you had to take it out. White 3 I mean, so now and start over again. I mean, very difficult. I mean, I think you know, getting from there to where we are today, it's going to be interesting to see what it is in 20 more years, because now if you go into our dispatch center, it has about 8 or 9 screens per dispatch console. Everything's computerized. I don't know how I ever did it before without Word.
Yep.
So, I mean, everything's changed. We monitor and we have communication with all the departments in the surrounding communities, state police, fire, DPW,
Wow.
where before we had a single mic. And I mean, even going back to checking people for warrants, we used to have a book. So everything is computerized, and we're responsible for a lot more than we were, 28 years ago. I mean, we're looked upon not just as a police officer to make arrests and keep order. We're looking at it as a social worker. We're looking at emergency medical dispatch. We're looked at as the authority in town. We're looked at as the community policing officer. We're wearing a lot of hats we never wore in 1988.
That's good. And speaking on the topic of change, how has West Bridgewater changed? What's improved, and what maybe you think still needs to be improved upon?
Well, West Bridgewater's always done a pretty good, I call them frugal, because I see so many other communities go through issues with overrides and not having money to do the services. We've grown to, about 2 or 3 men since 1988 or 1990. So we haven't grown huge as far as a department, but we didn't really need to, Some communities, go too far with us and overspend. We have a brand new station in 2008. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not the Taj Mahal. It works. It has what we need to perform the jobs, but it doesn't have that big chandelier. And I think that's what West Bridgewater is. We're a small community that makes sure we have what we need, but we don't go overboard and get that, like I said, that big chandelier that we don't need. And as you can see with this new school here today,
I mean, the same school, yeah.
Yeah, it's not this over, what's the word?
Overly prepared, overdone school.
Right.
The students similar have everything they need.
They have everything they need, and they have it in a good facility.
Yes.
I think it's very important to have good equipment, and I think it's very important to keep that good equipment updated and letting the guys have the tools to do the job. We here in the community, we're given all the tools we need to do the job that's necessary. And to get back, I might have made it off a little bit off of your question, but West Bridgewater has changed. 106. I mean, look at 106. It's changed.
The center.
I mean, the center. Up towards where Tedeschi's is and all that. Used to be a farmland there. With the houses back, that was just cornfields. I mean, so West Center Street has changed drastically. And we're seeing a little more of apartment buildings. We never had those before. So we're changing slowly with the time. We're still behind a lot of the other communities in a good way.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not saying we're holding back, but we're doing it in a good way. We're being responsible, which West Bridgewater has always been with their budgets and the way of thinking and with the way they want their community to, grow. We're doing it's responsibly and smarter. I know there's people out there that don't want to see us build one more, building. They don't want one more house, or they don't want to do this because of space. But I mean, unfortunately, that's part of growth. We're going to have to do some growth, but we're doing it responsibly. So I think that's really important. We're going to still have that small town, feel. I mean, when I came here, I think there was 6,600 residents when I started in '88, and I think there's 7,001 now.
That's good. Big
So
improvement.
we're not growing very fast.
No, I think West Bridgewater does a great job, and I've worked in other towns, access stations, and I've seen their municipalities, and I believe West Bridgewater is doing a great job and is on a very good path.
No, like they give you the tools, like you have here. You have the tools to do a nice job, and it makes it, more effective for you to be able to do it the right way. And that's the way it is with us too. I give the guys the tools, that they need to do the job, so that they can go out responsibly to protect and to serve and do everything the community asks of us.
Great. Great. And speaking of which, what are some new ideas that you have planned for West Bridgewater, or any new goals you're looking to implement in the upcoming years?
Well, for the past 6 years, we've really pushed the guys out of the cars. That was my big goal when I became lieutenant. We pushed the guys out of the car. You'll see a lot of our guys on the bikes. You'll see them out there with the bikes.
I saw them at the summer concerts when we were filming this.
Yeah, you'll see them a lot. And as much as the community likes to see it, the guys like it. They like to get out and talk. You know, people are more approachable when they're out of their car. They're in a little different uniforms. They don't look as, you know, because we are a military, quasi-military organization. So now they're in a different, shirt. They look a little more approachable, and that's what I want. Just like when we started the school safety checks here, our guys are in the schools twice a day, all year round at different times. Different people. It's not set one person, so the kids get to know all of our guys. I think it's important for them in the community to know our guys. We have a great police force. We have caring individuals, and they want to be part of the community. And I think by the bike patrols and starting, we're part of what they call SEMLEC, which is, it's called Southeast Law Enforcement Council, which the guys, we have troubles like they have their own SWAT team. We have guys that are involved in their SWAT team. They have a motorcycle group. We have guys in charge of motorcycles. We have a search and rescue part of that. We presently don't have somebody from our department in it, but when we need them, they can come to us. So we're really trying to get out, and we may not have all the resources, but we're part of other resources. So that's another thing we do. But like I said, you'll see, I know we got a grant 2 years ago for the canine. Our canine taser is incredible.
I've seen him, yeah. He always gets the news attention.
He's insane. The dog is, it's funny, when we started the program, I never realized how much these canines can do. You just see them, in the back of a car and
just ready to go.
Just ready to go, and he's got a great personality. He knows when to go to work, but the kids can go around and pat him, and he's very social, but he's very smart, and like I said, he can do a number of different things. It's a tool. Like I said, it's a tool that we give the officers to be able to do their job. So, and like I said, we're out there all the time on the bikes. We're out there on the motorcycles. We're out there during the community events. I know the guys were out the other night during the kids' concert. They're handing out popsicles and stuff like that. So I'm really pushing them, and it's not really I have to push them because they want to do it. I'm just giving them the tools to be able to do that, the bike and stuff like that. In September, mid-September, we're going to be posting pretty soon. We're starting the first Citizen Police Academy. Oh, wow. We're going to do 8 weeks. It's going to be very interesting. We started at 8 weeks because we want to either build on it, but we want to make sure the first 8 nights are very, filled with content and people enjoy it.
Is this the CERT program?
Is the what?
Is this the CERT program, the SERT?
No.
Okay,
nope.
Excuse me.
No, this is just something that the department's starting. We're going to be doing it here at the high school, 1 night a week for 8 weeks. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be eye-opening to a lot of people. So I'm really, looking forward to seeing a lot of individuals do, like I said, the 8-week course, and then we're going to try to build on it, and we're going to continue it. Maybe we'll do it twice a year and continue it through as long as, the townspeople want to go. Or as long as somebody wants to be part of it, we're going to continue to do it. So that's kind of exciting.
Great. I look forward to seeing that and getting it started. Now, your father, Victor Flaherty Sr., was an active member in the community. He was a selectman. He served on multiple boards and organizations, really dedicated his time to the community. We even have an award named after him that we give out every year at town meeting to somebody who's done very similar things. What was it about your father that made him so actively engaged in West Bridgewater?
I don't know what it was about him. Because I always said to him, I says, I don't know why you do this, because people think that a lot of people who volunteer or do things are doing it for the wrong reasons. They're doing it for their own personal gain, or they're doing it for some type of an angle. Unfortunately, that happens. My dad did it because he just loved it. He started a youth basketball in his church, way before he got into Brockton South Little League. He ran that for years. Yeah. And then my mother said, hey, we have kids, you got to be at West Bridgewater. And he came here and served there for many, many years. He did it because he loved it. It was his way of blowing off steam, I guess, just doing something different than work. And some people like to bowl or golf or, go hunting and stuff like that. He enjoyed being around the kids. He enjoyed making sure they had the tools to stay, to do what they needed to do. He just thoroughly enjoyed the youth in town. And then when, we had a number of different projects in town building, he remodeled the Howard School. He was the superintendent for that. He he did the Spring Street School years and years ago.
Oh, wow.
Superintendent of that, and then he did the police and fire. He did it all for nothing. He did it as a, you know, he was in construction for many years, ran big jobs, and was just giving back to his community that he felt gave to him.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he did all the things he did, he really felt that the community was giving him as much as he was giving the community. So, you know, you can't, there's very few people that are as dedicated or was, you know.
Was he an influence at all, and you decided to become a police officer, or?
Well, maybe not as a police officer, because it was kind of a fluke, you know, with life, you know, how it happened. You know, I worked for many years with Shaw Supermarkets, you know, and I just took the test as a, you know, as a fluke. I didn't, you know, you want to be a police officer, but it was very difficult to be, you know, with civil service and the way the lists went. And about a month before the list expired, I got a card. So it was, in a month, it was no longer going to be on the list.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Chief Whitey Lothrop was the chief at the time. And I remember going into his office, you know, and I can still, you know, I can't remember, sometimes I had breakfast, but I still remember that time and what he said to me, you know, and what he expected. And I got the job. I'm sure many thought it was because of my dad, because he was big into the town and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But this, you know, like I always say, when you're hiring somebody, if you got two candidates that are both the same, they're great, you know, maybe great candidates, but you don't know one, but you know the other, you might give that other person, as long as they're on the same playing field, the chance. Because you know his family, you know it. So I'm sure that, you know, I got the chance to be a police officer because of my dad, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've definitely excelled at it, I would have to say. Now, to change subjects, one big issue in Massachusetts right now is the growing opioid crisis. What are some steps being taken by the West Bridgewater Police Department to help fight this drug problem in the state?
Yeah. Just before I answer that, I mean, like I said earlier, we started the task force in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
From 97 till today, I mean, we bought, you know, undercovers and on heroin. Heroin has been the constant since 1997.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't gone away. We haven't beaten it. You know, we still haven't beaten it to today. It's very, we've seen other drugs come in and out of it, but constantly has been the heroin. Unfortunately, when you have something that's been, instilled somewhere in this, you know, where it's got that much of a hold on communities or the state, it's, you know, more and more people, unfortunately, are going to experiment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going back to probably 2002, 2003, that's when you had the Oxycontin and the Percocet were doctors and, you know, they were flying to Florida to pain clinics, they were giving them out like candy, okay? That started a whole new generation because everybody thought the heroin was the guy under the bridge, you know, and that, you know, that dirty little secret that no one wanted to do anymore. And then all of a sudden, the Oxycontin pills and the Percocets were giving out, in my estimation, way over the top. I mean, you go have your wisdom teeth out. Why am I getting an Oxycontin? Why am I getting a Percocet?
Yeah.
You know, here's a ibuprofen. The pain will be gone in 2 days and you'll be all set. Okay, just like my son, if he was here, he'd fall down and I'd pick him up and say, suck it up. I mean, that's the problem. We got to be a society of quick fixes, and there's no quick fix in life.
No.
So now we have that epidemic. We have that lost, generation because, in my estimation, because not of heroin, but because of the Oxycontin, the Percocets, and the pills, and when those disappear, they go into the heroin, unfortunately. West Bridgewater is lucky. East Bridgewater and Chief Allen over there was instrumental in starting EB Hope. We're part of that collaboration. The Bridgewaters have all worked together for many years, with the task force, and years before SEMLAC, we had SWAT with them. We always worked together, so I'm lucky in this aspect that it was spearheaded by Chief Allen, and that we're lucky enough to be part of it. It's up on our website when the hours can be, and it's very personalized, and when they come in, they're willing to help and give you good advice. Find different facilities if you need be, or just being a parent or a family member of somebody, just somebody to talk to that may have gone through it. So it's a great thing that they did over there, and I'm glad we're part of it.
Yeah, that's great. And I think the West Bridgewater DARE program is doing a great job inside the school and educating students. I think Officer Thaxter's is doing a great job.
Yeah, we're probably, there's not many communities that still do that, and we find it to be important, and that's just like one of those things, like I said, when the officers come in, they get to know somebody. They get to, they can talk to Officer Thaxter. They can talk to if they know him personally, they're more willing to go up to them and say, hey, I have this problem at home, and can you help me? And that's what I think is important, getting that personal relationship that will help them, and it helps us too. Because we really like to see, that good outcome, and that we maybe had this much to do with it, but, that we were here to help somebody when they needed it.
Oh, that's great. Now, I'll go a little easy on you with some other questions, but what are some 3 interesting facts about yourself that maybe people don't know?
Interesting facts. Well, I'm an avid golfer, so.
Me too, yeah.
I golf, and I've done it for many, many years. It's my 4 hours of relaxation. This job takes a lot out of you. I know everybody thinks that, there's a lot to it, and I need my 4 hours to. So I golf late Friday afternoons, and I golf Saturday mornings religiously with a group. So I've told dispatch, my phone is off for those 4 hours. If there's something that has happened that you need me, and I gave them the number, they'll come out and get me. But you need to have that short time just to clear your head. So I'm a big golfer. I'm a grandfather.
Oh, congratulations! I didn't know that.
So that's changed a few
Yeah.
things, So, and I call myself, I'm the emergency babysitter. I tell my daughter all the time, when you can't, because they both work and stuff. I'm not Tuesday afternoon, I'm the emergency, because I always raise our kids, and we always shifted around. Mom was home or dad was home. We always tried to make the best of, and not just having, somebody watch our kids all the time. So I thought that was important. But yeah, Keegan is 7 months now, and he's starting to get a personality. So it's interesting now to see from having kids to now having a grandson. So, but other than that, I'm just, I work a lot. I like to work. I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing what we get out of it. I enjoy seeing the guys react to, if you're a hard worker, they tend to be hard workers too, and they see that if you're willing to do something, they're willing to do it. So I've never asked any of them to do something that I haven't done. So unfortunately, work is, I do a lot of that.
Now, speaking for anybody who might be watching who's younger and maybe interested in becoming a police officer, do you have any advice that you maybe can give or share in your 30 years of experience?
Well, obviously, continue your school. Policing has changed, so much. You really need to continue education and go into college. If you want to go into law enforcement, that continue, get your degree. I think you got to carry yourself as someone people look up to. You got to be that person that says, no, I'm not going to do that when it's not popular. Policing, when I hire somebody, I don't really look at experience like you did part-time down the Cape, or you did, dispatcher before. I look at the individual, character, work ethic, honesty. If you're an honest, hardworking with good character, you can work for West Bridgewater. So just do those things, and you'll have no problem getting into law enforcement. Just like I said, just be that person to be able to say, no, I'm not doing that. And I understand how hard it is, and I understand we all make mistakes. I always say to my guys, you can make a mistake. I have no problem with mistakes. We can fix mistakes. But doing something, that you feel is wrong, and just to do it, no, we're not, I don't know how exactly to say that, but
But it builds character, or
Well, right. And mistakes, you fix, you move on, you don't do them
you
again.
learn from them.
You learn from your mistakes. So, like I says, character, honest, hardworking, and like I says, self-motivated. We work alone a lot. So, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have that background. Experience is good, but you have those three things, you'll do fine.
Very good to know. Now, in your 30 years of serving as a police officer, do you have any fond memories, memorable officers you worked with, anything like that, that willing to share or can think of?
Well, 19, it's funny because a lot of, I told you earlier, I don't remember sometimes what I had for breakfast, but you have these little glitches. Back in, I think 1990 was the last policeman's ball. We used to have policeman's balls where it was a big event. Everybody in town used to go. We used to walk in with our dress, blues, and introduce everybody, the wives. I mean, before me, they had them for many, many years. They used to have like kids shows, and in the afternoons, and then at night it would
Big
be
event.
the dance and what have you, policeman's ball. I still remember that was my only policeman ball, and I still remember that one. So, and we used to do a little more, and the guys are starting to do it now. We used to do benefit softball games. We used to play the coaches of the Youth Athletic Association, the police department. And I still remember Howard Anderson. He was a sergeant at the time. He became chief later on, and he played second base. And he was probably at the time 50. And I'm like, how does this 50-year-old guy? Now I'm 50-year-old guy, and I can say I can still play second base. But it's funny how you remember these things. And then we just go out and have a pizza afterwards, but we'd play, the different youth groups and the coaches and stuff like that. I remember all the, it's funny how you remember all the community things, the little events that didn't, at the time didn't mean much to me, but now, 50 and looking at memory lane, they were real important. They build the camaraderie in the department. They had that community feel because you're out playing, softball games to benefit something at the time for the community. So I think, as much as I don't think at the time it meant anything to me, it did, because I'm big into pushing and getting our guys in the community. I enjoy seeing them, and when they post in these things on our Facebook page, which that's another thing, when they came to me about Facebook about 3 years ago, and I'm like, we don't need a Facebook page,
And now everything has a Facebook or a Twitter.
and no, we don't know. We'd really like to do that, and a couple of guys, and my secretary now, Crystal, enjoy putting the stuff out, and so that, those are all things that change, but it's a community thing, and with the going to the Facebook thing is, I always said, if we're gonna do Facebook, and I don't have a Facebook page, so I don't know much about it, but we're going to only put positive, educational, informational stuff. That's all we're going to do. An arrest or something, if there was somebody went above and beyond, we're going to only positive thing and educate or issue safety concerns to the community. It's supposed to, be that, like, I always say, well, we've always done these things, but if you don't post it, we don't do it. So the community thinks that we don't do it. Well, we do it, and we try to post as many things as we can do to show them that we're out there doing it. But, I wasn't really in favor at the time. They were really positive about it, and you got to let your people run with things that they're willing to do, and they proved me wrong. Facebook, our page is, we've done a lot of things with it, with the texting and with education and showing, the community events that we go to. It's only been positive, so they proved me wrong, but that's right. That's why we're a team. I'm just the coach. This is the team right here, and I got a lot of good team players.
Yeah, you get a lot of good information from now that the town's on Twitter and Facebook. It really helps spread any messages or any notices that are going on in town.
Yeah.
But please, Chief Flaherty, thank you for being here today. But before we wrap up, is there anything you want to say or anything you want to close with?
Like I said, I think I just want to ask, when you see the police officer out there, walk up, say hello. I want to thank the community, after all the events that we've had, not here, but in law enforcement, where officers are killed, and I've had more people walk up to me and say, thanks for what you do. We've had a number of different dishes made and brought to the station we understand that the community's behind us and we're behind the community. So I just want to thank them for that.
Great, thank you. Well, thank you very much for coming down today.
No, I was happy to be
We
here.
appreciate all that you do for the town, and thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for watching. Be sure to watch us on our channel, West Bridgewater Comcast Channel 9, and also Wildcat Television, which is Channel 98. You can also go online at www.wbcat.org and like us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you for watching.